There's a lot of inmates around here trying to run the asylum, and it's getting a little bit out of hand. As a matter of fact, sometimes things get so out of kilter that they just need to be dealt with. I'm the warden around here, and I'm going to deal right now with Bobby Roode. Bobby, come here, pal. In case you forgot, I am the world heavyweight champion. My calendar's pretty full. I'm a little busy. My agenda's pretty stacked, so time is money, and you're wasting it. So if you don't mind, let's just cut to the chase. Okay, I'll cut to the chase right now. I don't care about your agenda or your calendar because you're on my watch right now, Bobby. And I told you 2 weeks ago when you put your hands on Dixie Carter, things will not be run your way. They will be run my way. And for the most part, everyone around here has been on their best behavior. Well, as good as wrestlers can be. Except for you, Bobby. Last Thursday night, everywhere there was trouble, there was Bobby Roode. Oh, and your highlight reel, of course, Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles getting waylaid with your belt from behind, of course, right? Stinger, I'm glad you liked it. I mean, it made for great television. I mean, your world heavyweight champion, me, coming out and taking out both AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy with my world heavyweight title. I mean, what an amazing way to go off the air. So I guess you just called me out here, Stinger, to personally thank me. You wanted to thank me for finally being the guy to step up and put this wrestling company on the map, right? You want to personally thank me face to face for saving Impact Wrestling and putting it on my back and carrying it into 2012 and beyond. Well, Stinger, from me to you, you're welcome. No, hey, hold on a minute. No. I didn't bring you out here to thank you, Bobby. I brought you out here to remind you. My way, not your way. For every bad choice that you make, there's going to be a really bad consequence. And the consequences start right now, Bobby! Not only do you put me in an Iron Man match with AJ, but now AJ, you got the Stinger fighting your battles for you. I see how it is. Oh, no, I'm just getting started. Hold on. We're not done yet. More consequences. Consequences.
I'm going to state the obvious. Here's the difference between you and us. We respect Sting's authority. And we respect his decisions. Why don't you?
I tell you what, Jeff Hardy. I say screw Sting and screw his decision making. How about that, AJ, Jeffrey?
No. How about this? Screw you, Bobby, because tonight you're going to be in a three-way match. You, Jeff, and AJ. Right here tonight.
What the hell?
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Ferran Derry.
Sit down, shut up, and listen up.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Ferran Derry here with you, talking pro wrestling, talking WWE, talking TNA, apparently talking trash according to Denny O. Only about you, Denny. Only about you. No, Denny does a great job here between the polka show and the engineering and stuff that he does around here. But enough blowing smoke. Well, yeah, enough blowing smoke. We'll just we'll leave it at that. Blowing smoke where the Rock puts boots. How about that? We'll leave it at that. That should keep me clean and out of trouble for a little while. Anyway, as you heard there, Sting setting up the triple threat match for the main event of TNA Impact, and of course Bobby Roode going on to win that in about a 15-minute match. And After the fact, well, thanks to some interference from Jeff Jarrett, Sting made a match for Final Resolution. Jeff Hardy against Jeff Jarrett in an Escape the Cage match, a steel cage match, with some stipulations, because it's TNA. Why wouldn't there be overbooked stipulations? If Jarrett wins, then Hardy leaves TNA. If Hardy wins, he becomes the number one contender for the TNA title at Genesis. Should be interesting. Although, I don't know, those cheap finishes in TNA, they tend to be a little bit frustrating. It seems like nobody can win a match without some semblance of interference. It's odd how that works. But TNA, they're trying to do some things. And we'll see how things go. 3 matches set so far for the Final Resolution pay-per-view. I mentioned Jeff Jarrett against Jeff Hardy in that steel cage match. And, of course, you've got Gail Kim defending the Knockouts title against Mickie James. And then the main event, at least perceived, Bobby Roode defending the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against AJ Styles in an Iron Man match. So we've got an Iron Man match and a steel cage match, both set up for the pay-per-view 1 week from tomorrow. And, of course, next week I'll have my predictions certain to go wrong for TNA Final Resolution. Should be some good stuff. And then the week after that, we've got TLC. That's right, Mark Henry, the big show for the World Championship. No stipulations set for that, although most people figured it would be a chairs match, but it looks like we're not necessarily going to get that, at least not yet. Definitely questionable to say the least. Let's go ahead and let's get over to the phone lines. Let's get to John, who's been hanging out. John, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Oh, it certainly wouldn't be a mic working match. Wow.
No, it definitely wouldn't.
Oof, was Rich Boston available that night?
Wow.
I know. It's just, remember when TNA used to be, the We Like Wrestling and the famous We Don't, No More Talking, or the famous ECW chant that they used to give when people would start talking. It's amazing how they go from that to still claiming to be total nonstop action, even though they're Impact Wrestling now.
Yeah, wrestling matters.
Yeah, to us, I know that, but I don't know about what their priorities are. But it's just, I don't know. I just think that both ends are guilty of the same crime when it comes to treating their fans like they don't really know anything. And I just think it sucks. It's unwatchable, and I don't know. I'd rather hear about Twitter trending than have to listen to listen to, because it's all talk now, there's just the awful Eric Bischoff angles over there.
You think a lot of this is Eric Bischoff's handiwork? Like the various storylines and whatnot? I know Russo's had some involvement. Bruce Pritchard, now that he's come over from WWE, his fingerprint has to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's very interesting. They're recruiting former WCW and WWE guys, and this is something that's known. We've all known this. But if towards after the NWO and then they rehashed it about 4 or 5 times in WCW, if you've noticed, it became a war between the fans, the wrestlers, and the management. And it seems to me that TNA is just, they couldn't really get out of that mode once they've arrived. So I think it's got a lot more to do with, I'm pretty sure Russo's still around, or is he gone?
I think he has a reduced role, if my memory serves me right, but it's hard to say anymore. There have been so many regime changes and everything else.
At 2% Russo, 2% milk. It really just bothers me. I haven't watched TNA in a while, so I really can't comment too much on it, but I've been watching WWE, and because we've been discussing Twitter trending, and we've been discussing the Facebook mentions, it's more or less like they're going viral marketing now. It's going back to being viral marketing with cryptic messages, whether it be Kane's resurrection or the It Begins, which I have an interesting theory on, but I know it's wrong because there's so many angles that can go with. But it seems to me that they're being real cryptic, and that's a good thing. You want to get your fans tuning in. But the problem is that the times they air these promos, they know that nobody's really, but whatever the match is, whether it be just a quick 3-minute match or whatever, it's being on Monday night, they know people are going to just go over to Monday Night Football. So they pick the worst times to put these promos on because they have YouTube channels where you can watch them anyway.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're just kind of throwing in the towel from the beginning of September to the end of December and saying, "Hey, we'll see you in January for the push to the Royal Rumble. Good luck with football. Enjoy."
Yeah,
kudos.
It really is. It's just, I mean, going back on the Twitter, the viral marketing works because it works when implemented properly. But the problem is that if you've noticed, all their viral marketing campaigns, there's no originality. I mean, they may appear differently, but at the end, it's for whoever it is that's returning. It's usually the same promo. Now, whether or not the It Begins promo is for one said individual, which I won't give away, one said individual, I mean, it would be kind of like foolish on their part to rehash that similar return for this performer. So I just think that they need to be original, but instead, what are they doing? They're relying on Twitter, and they're relying on... It's amazing. Twitter is now the Raw general manager.
Yeah.
But I'm glad
maybe that was the reveal. Yeah, maybe that's the reveal.
It's the Twitter bird. It's the blue Twitter bird.
The blue Twitter bird is the Raw general manager.
It is. But I'll say this, and you're going back to your topic earlier about turning John Cena heel. If done properly, and I think if they have a really good, successful build-up, I think it'll go over well. But I don't know, maybe I'm indifferent on this, but if you'd notice, it's pretty much being expected. I mean, we're all expecting it to happen sooner or later. So, I mean, it's obvious that if they're going to do this, it's going to happen. It's going to happen at the biggest stage of them all because the whole world will be watching. Much like how Bash at the Beach, Hulk Hogan was the third man. Even though that wasn't like Starrcade or any of their other major shows, they've built up to it for months. So maybe this is the angle they're going with, and they're going to use WrestleMania as the platform to launch him. But at the end of the day, to have these ridiculous chants that The Rock comes up with, these ridiculous mentions of what's trending, what's not trending, they can't even go through like a half of a match without telling us that elbows are being twittered on.
They're trending on Twitter. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but my finger seems to find a way to trend to a new channel.
To a new
channel. If I can deliver that any worse.
I don't know. I can't get off your description. I'm like picturing like the Twitter bird making the sound that.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah, and then having to hear Michael Cole. I've just received him. That's probably why he mentions Twitter so much, since he was so buddy with the Raw general manager. Maybe that does make a lot of sense. Although I don't know where Twitter has an issue with Bret Hart. I think that was one of the cryptic clues somewhere along the way.
And you know what's interesting? You brought up on the Facebook page, which is WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. You just type that into the Facebook search, and there it is. It's an open group. Everyone can join. But anyway,
yeah, I don't feel the need to close off and restrict people. That's not how I roll.
Yeah, no, we are.
Some people tend to do that worldwide, but that's a whole. I'm getting myself into trouble saying that.
Yeah, we don't force people into lumberjack matches nobody wants to see.
Yes, very well put.
You brought up like what's more annoying, the Rock's chants or the Cena's lady.
Oh yeah, it was the boots. Well, you know where the boots are going. I got a little bit
BTA.
of heat for BTA or Cena's lady parts, which is worse.
And you asked which chant, like which of the two is the greater evil, and I just like completely went out of the box and just said Michael Cole.
Yes. I remembered seeing that. I don't know if I'd mentioned it, in a week you may have been out of the listening area, but no, I definitely got a chuckle at that.
But it's just it begs for originality, and it's just. But will they listen? No, because they're too busy watching what's true. They don't have to listen. They have Twitter listen for them, and they just watch. It's embarrassing. I mean, it's a good way to spread your wares. It's a good way to get your word out. But if you're the largest sports entertainment company, you wouldn't necessarily have to beg people to go on Twitter to listen to you or watch your programming or chime in on your websites. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just like Twitter says you have to mention us as much as things get tweeted and to keep our endorsement. I don't know, but it is unwatchable. And the whole thing back to Cena now, if it's done, don't you think maybe it'll be tweeted even before it happens, like this is the moment John Cena goes heel? It would be a big reveal, but I think it'll also be a big fail because we're all expecting it.
Well, I don't know. I still like the ways I was actually talking with Mike Samsel, who I mean, he does a litany of things here at BCB. He'll be doing play-by-play for one of the state championship games later today. But he was talking about he had to go back to one of Cena's old rap albums, and he actually pulled up a theme, and I'll see if I can get it and post it up on the site after we're done here. But pulled up one of Cena's songs that would be a perfect heel theme for him. Yeah, and as I'm listening to it, I'm just thinking that could work. It sounds crazy, but it just might work.
Do you think maybe that their Twitter... I'm surprised we're talking about Twitter so much, but you think maybe that their wrestling Twitters are monitored and pretty much... Do you think it's really them, or maybe it's somebody in the WWE that's just putting these out? Because I'm pretty much sure that every celebrity has a Twitter or a Facebook fan page, and people control those. But I'm pretty sure that they have personal Twitter accounts. Those are the ones you want to see. You just want to see them just talk off the cuff. That would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, you get that. I mean, I'm just recently breaking into the Twitter world at Ferranderi, by the way. Yes. Another shameless plug. I've followed a few of the different wrestlers. I mean, Punk is pretty much a straight shooter. JR, he tells things like they are, but there's also a lot of expected barbecue sauce promotion. Yes. Which, and I hate to sound like I'm shamelessly plugging, but no, I have had JR's barbecue sauce. It is delicious, especially the spicy barbecue and the main event mustard. Nice. So I would give either of those a go if you're looking to order something from WWEshop.com. Okay, shameless plug over. But simplifies it all for us. Enough about the Twitter. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, but you see these various things. I don't know. Some people. One thing that makes me think that they're not necessarily controlled by WWE is I've seen a lot of Goldust post, just as an example, and he's lobbying to face Cody at WrestleMania 28, the whole brother versus brother thing, and I don't know, call me crazy, I could get behind it. I've also seen some bring back John Morrison campaigns, and I mean, it goes to John Morrison being let go and Miz being, I mean, that still bothers me that Miz and Michael Cole, I should say, get over more than a guy who is more deserving to be over, but they don't like him simply because of who it is he keeps his company. Yeah, a lot of politics. And it was cool to hear that you opened up with Patrice. That was it was very, very sad to hear about Patrice O'Neal this week. I mean, it's real unfortunate when you hear something like this, but for it to be at his age and at the point in his career where he was just starting to, I mean, he's been big, but it was just going mainstream and just being real successful. It's going to be a very big void with Patrice being gone. Absolutely. I figured I'd shake things up and kind of get the news and notes out of the way early, although, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a weird dynamic. I mean, I'm used to planning a show to be a certain length of time, but when you don't know what that is based on, other factors leading up to it, it's kind of hard. It's all right, am I going to have a 20-minute show? Am I going to have a 40-minute show? Am I going to have the full hour? Am I going to have a 10-minute show? It's an interesting dynamic. So I'm thinking, all right, how much preparation do I need based on how much, that X factor of time? Or you can get paid hundreds of millions and not do a show on Friday. Oh. Wow. But I can't imagine who you're referencing there, John. I invented the Twitter, Robin. Oh, of course. Very, very well done. Oh man. All right. I'm up against. I got a second break I got to take care of. We got Today in Wrestling History on the other side. Thanks so much for the call, John. Appreciate it as always. Ron, too, by the way. Good luck and best wishes. You're in my prayers. I saw on your Facebook wall, and I just wanted to offer you my support. Yeah, I'll get to that before heading on to the break. Thank you so much, John. Dealing with a little bit of a personal issue, and for those of you who saw it on the Facebook. I found out earlier this week that my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and that kind of hit me a little hard, to say the least. And pretty much that, as we are an internet-based society, the first thing I did was I posted, my thoughts on Facebook, and next thing you know, I've got,
dozens of responses from people. And for those of you who have responded, thank you. It's certainly appreciated. And I've passed those along to my mom. It was detected fairly early, though, so we're going to go the surgery and chemotherapy and radiation route. And we're looking to get past this. The initial reaction was just of shock, but now it's kind of like, all right, it's something we've got to just got to fight and take care of. And it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that I'm looking forward to beating, to say the least. Anyway, take a quick break, come back today in wrestling history, wrap it up, and then Bill Melody in the house. Well, he's in the house already. He's doing the production as he always does, and does a damn good job of it. We'll also see if we can squeeze a call in on the other side. We got room for that as well if you want to chime in. 215-949-3232 or toll free at 888-922-2149. Those are the ways to get to us. You can also chime in on the Facebook fan page at WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Go ahead and give that a look. And I swear tonight, now that I'm on the overnight, I'll go ahead and get the archives of last week's as well as today's shows up on YouTube. Again, you can look up WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly in YouTube, and we'll get you squared away. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.